Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hello and welcome to tonight's episode of Taekwondo Life Magazine Live. This is Master Marc Zirogiannis. I'm your host. I'm third Dan, I was going to say. I'm your host, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Taekwondo Life Magazine. Old habits die hard. We are a member of the Believe Network. Do you believe? Today we are talking about the merger of PFL MMA and MVP Promotions. We had the opportunity last night to attend the July 31st PFL New York event that took place at the UBS Arena here in Elmont. It was a terrific fight card, really well done, and we signed up as the press corps. Now let's go back by way of a little bit of history. We've covered through the magazine our Taekwondo and MMA sections and articles. We've sat on the press corps of UFC, PFL, Bellator. We've gone to independent matches, and we've covered PFL from almost the beginning. We interviewed over the years the Korean Falcon. We interviewed Ray Sefo. We interviewed Alex the Spartan Nicholson. We had a lot of course, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. From almost its rollout in 2019, PFL came out as a bracketed league with seasons. And the idea was it was a fighter-friendly avenue for fighters to have an employment contracts and a salary and benefits, and very pro-fighter. One of the anchor athletes during the initial seasons was the great Judaica Kayla Harrison. She was a spokesperson and she was champion. We covered her, and she did a wonderful job of transitioning from the world of Olympic medalist to MMA champion. We followed Bellator, and of course, Master Valerie Lareda, who's now with the WWE, was a fighter at Bellator, and Scott Coker venture, and that venture ended up merging with PFL sometime later. In recent years, John Martin has taken over as CEO of PFL, and they've featured some great fights and some great fighters, all with the same style. They've had events in 14 countries, and they've done a good job improving the product. Now for a word from our sponsor. Ray Sefo, who we had a great relationship with, was chief of operations at that point. John Martin took over. Peter Murray was the actual CEO, and we had spoken to him. But really, Ray was the face of the organization. John Martin taking over last year sort of runs as both of those positions. He's the face, and he sort of runs the organization. He doesn't have a fight background. He's not a fighter. He doesn't come from the fight world, but he is a passionate fan, and he's a very bright businessman. 23 is when PFL acquired Bellator, and the rollout of many of those things what they did, which is, we'll talk about this a little bit, is trying to take those champions that are Bellator champions and those ones that are PFL and have the fight-offs to get those equalized into PFL. So they did a very good job with that. Last night's event was scheduled in New York. It was the first time in New York for quite some time. A couple of years ago, we had gone to the finals on New Year's Eve at Madison Square Garden, which was super, super, super exciting. This event, the feature event, was Usman Nurmagomedov from Dagestan, who is the reigning lightweight undefeated champion, and of course the cousin of the great UFC fighter Khabib, who was there last night. In the lead up to this fight, which had some undercard matches and then some main card matches, there was a lot of excitement. But what we didn't know at the time that we agreed to be part of the press corps for this one was that there would be an announcement forthcoming And that announcement was that PFL and MVP Promotions, Jake Paul's organization, would announce their merger just 2 days before the event. So even though the card basically was the same, there was a lot of promotion and branding around what will become, at the end of this year, MVP MMA. Now let's talk a little bit about two aspects of this. One is the card itself. The card itself was great. One of the things I loved about last night's event was that they really moved it along. They started on time at around 4 o'clock. They had 5 undercard matches that appeared on the ESPN app. They moved from one into the other. As press, we had the opportunity to go back and forth between the interview room and the main stage and not miss anything because the interview room was covered with televisions of what was going on inside. There were some great matches there. There was one match that was a little controversial, which was Sean Gaethje against Alan Bagoso. To be quite honest, that went to a decision. I thought it clearly went the other way. The judges obviously saw it differently. You go into that main card, which was appeared on ESPN television. The guy to watch, Mustafa Diakate, just dominated over Darrell Walker. Darrell Walker's a good fighter, but this other guy is just absolutely insanely good. Now, one of the things I didn't mention is we tried a new format last night, which was really well received, which was that we were live posting results. I've never done that before. Usually I come, I do some filming, I write some notes, and then I do a summary. But I actually, sitting ringside with my computer, had my posts ready to go. And in real time, for those that didn't have access to the event, you were able to get from my Twitter feed and from my website the winners, how they won, what round they won in, and any upcoming information. And the feedback we got was phenomenally good. So I'm really excited about that, and that will be something that we'll use in the future. The 3 main matches, Kamaru Nurmagomedov against Angel Alvarez, which was a great fight. A really, really good fight. But the 2 main card matches, the co-main events, were the return of Dakota Tcheva against Denise Kleiholz. That went to full 3 rounds. It was a really, really exciting match in the women's flyweight. But the fight that everyone was really looking forward to was Archie Colgan, who stepped in. He's the 3rd ranked fighter in that division, in the lightweight division, against Usman. Khabib was there, and it was just a devastating first-round knockout. Usman showed himself that he's not only one of the best fighters, if not the best fighter in PFL, but maybe one of the best fighters in the world. Now, the hype around everything that occurred last night, I had some mixed feelings. I don't have anything against Jake Paul or MVP. I don't really know him that well. However, I don't know whether or not, from the things that I've read, his organization is a serious fight organization or he's a serious fighter. I've always perceived PFL to be that. So do they, especially going to the MVP brand, are they watering down the product? Are they becoming more like the WWE? I'm not sure. And I guess we'll see. John Martin, the CEO of PFL, is staying on. He was excited. I do agree with him. The demographic, the power of Jake Paul's presence, the fact that they have somewhat of a deal with Netflix for live streaming is something that PFL doesn't have. The fact that there'll be some more money behind it, I think, is exciting. Their goal to take on the UFC, whether that will or won't happen, I'm not sure. But I listened to John Martin. We have that, and maybe we'll release that. I was in the press room for him afterwards. He made some really, really valid points. I think there's good strategy there about building a deep bench. combining the two organizations, equalizing the fights. My problem with it is that while I had some trepidation, the crowd was insane. Now, I don't know if that's only a New York thing. You know, I'm a New York guy, but every time that Jake Paul's visage was on the monitor, they cursed out, absolutely cursing and booing Jake Paul. Then they started chanting and continued to chant. I won't say it for the purposes of this show, but the full expletive F Jake Paul over and over again. So John Martin talked about the fact that, you know, love him or don't like him, that, you know, Jake Paul is a disruptor and that's something that they're looking for, that's a good thing. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The event itself last night I thought was terrific. Could it be better? Again, I'm a serious fight fan. I'm not looking for WWE style. I was very disappointed that Valerie Lareda, although I'm sure it's financially better for her, she is a good character, but I thought she was a good fighter. I liked her in Bellator. I don't watch her in WWE, despite the fact that she's a Taekwondo master. So we'll see. We'll follow it. We'll release it. It was fun to get back into it. They do say they're going to have some more events in New York, so we'll look out for that. I know there's one coming up in Charlotte. There's one coming up in Washington, I think, D.C. But we will see. And it was a good time. We posted a lot from it. We'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to hear whether or not you think the presence and the merger of Jake Paul will be felt. As for Dana White said something to the effect, when asked about it, two leagues that no one cares about and no one talked about are merging. What does that have to do with me? That's kind of what you'd expect Dana White to say. I will say that there is a little difference in style because CEO John Martin from PFL, very respectful and deferential to UFC as the leader in the industry. Jake Paul, as I indicated, a disruptor, not so much. Had a lot of negativity and a lot of negative things to say about Dana White and about the UFC and about how they're coming for them. So maybe that passion, maybe that drive will keep it going. This is Master Marc Zirogiannis, Taekwondo Life Magazine Live, a member of the Believe Network. I look forward to seeing you in the MMA cage, in the octagon, and on the mats.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Do you believe